Okay, so you're looking at Renko Kings and you're trying to figure out what it is, what it does. Is it something you're interested in? So let me try and break this down for you, okay? Renko Kings is a trending based software package, okay? The whole premise is to give you signals when the market's trending and not give you signals when the market is not trending. Okay, that's the fundamentals. Okay, so my slogan is simple, clear entries. So where does the simple come from? And please understand that trading is not easy, but it can be simple. And what I mean by that is I've bought systems in the past that come with a 30 or 40 page manual just to understand the setup. 30 to 40 pages just to understand one setup. I've also bought software where there were 20 plus steps involved, basically like a checklist, that you had to make sure that all of these items were in place for you to go ahead and make an entry, okay? And later you might get stopped out, it might work, and you review your charts at night and you say, oh, I missed 3 steps. I should have never taken this trade, okay? My system is simple because I've done all the heavy lifting for you. I've put into the code all of the different steps and rules and indicators, and if they don't all line up, then the signal doesn't come. It's simple as that, okay? So I've made the software very simple to understand. So simple, clear entries. Clear entries, where does that come from? Okay. I print a large colored arrow showing you what direction to go and when to enter. I can't make it any clearer than that. Okay. Now on other systems I've used in the past, their entries are always different and can be ambiguous. Okay. They're not the same entry all the time. Let's take a look at a candlestick chart. So what do I mean that the entry can be kind of ambiguous or not clearly defined? Okay. Let's say you have a setup where, okay, you have this doji, and if you close below this low right here, you want to try and go for an entry. Well, where is the entry exactly? Is the entry at the open? Is the entry 25% of the body? 50% of the body? At the close? I'm sorry, the open's up here. At the close? Where it's ambiguous. It's not always the same. It's, well, okay, you can see that this candle never retraced back up. So yeah, you might have probably could have gotten filled here at the close. I'm guessing if you were quick enough. You wouldn't have gotten the open. You wouldn't have gotten 50% or even 25% of the body. So that's what I mean when I say that it's a clear entry. Okay, simple and clear. They're defined every time. Okay, and what I mean by that is if you watched the purchase video on the pricing page for Renko Kings Platinum, here is the trade that I took, okay? And my setup is the same on every trade, okay? That's why we use Renko bars, one of the reasons why we use Renko bars, okay? But as you can see here, this Renko bar has all the same data as a candlestick, okay? The high is 93 and a quarter. The low is 87.50. All right. And this is what we call an entry candle. You can see I have the entry arrow. Okay. It announced when it was setting up, and it printed and made another announcement after this candle fully printed. Well, once this candle fully printed, our entry is always one tick below when this candle prints. So you know that your entry is going to be at 87 and a quarter. And your stop is going to be one tick above the high. So you know that your stop is always going to be 93.50. So it's going to be approximately a 26 tick stop. Now, if that stop is too big or too small, or you don't like it for whatever reason, then we can adjust it by changing the length of this candle. Okay, and I'm not going to get into those details now, but just send me an email and I'm happy to do a screen share with you, and we can work backwards as to what your risk profile is and how you want to adjust it, and I'll help you make those setting changes. But over here, okay, the entry is not always clear. And quite honestly, I feel like you're chasing the entry at this point, because you didn't get it here, you didn't get it here, you finally got it down here, and instead of your risk being from 59.5 to 63, now your risk for this exact same setup is 55, 75, all the way up to 63. Okay, so now you have approximately 28 ticks of risk on this setup because you had to chase it. Okay, which brings me to the next category, which is risk. Okay, and trading is all about understanding your risk. Simple as that. My system forces you to use sound money management techniques, period. So back to this example again. Okay. We saw where the entry was going to be. All right. But we have to work backwards to figure out what risk you can handle per trade. Okay, so what I mean by that is you have to start with your account size. So if your account size is $5,000, typically you're looking to risk no more than 1 to 5% per trade of your account. Now, the reason I say 5% is if you're trading a small account, you have no choice but to go 3, 4, 5, 6% of your account. Okay, you're just going to have to be willing to accept that amount of risk. The larger your account is, well, you can drop that risk down to 0.5% or 1% risk per trade. Okay, so if you have a $5,000 account, if you're willing to risk 5%, which is very high, okay, that puts you at $250 of risk per trade that you make. All right. So with this setup here, what does all that mean? Okay. So if you enter here at 56 and your stop's up here at 63, you've got 7 points or 28 ticks, 4 ticks per point on the NQ. Times $5 per tick, you got $140 worth of risk per contract. So if you like to trade 2 contracts, you're risking $280. Okay, well that's, pretty close to $250. Okay. That's pretty close to $250. But what happens if you come over here and we look at this example now, where there's a larger candle? So you break the high, you close above it, and you need to enter at 50% of the candle. Okay, so you enter at 50-50, and your stop is all the way down here because it's got this long wick. So your stop's all the way down here at 36.25. Well, now it's 57 ticks. Same setup, but now you have 57 ticks times $5. Well, that's $285 per contract. Well, if you're not paying attention to what your risk is, because day trading happens and moves so quickly, and you go ahead and place 2 contracts again, now you're at $570 worth of risk. Okay, well, 570 divided by a $5,000 account is 11% of your account in one trade. If this trade goes bad, you only have to do that 8 or 9 times and you've blown up your account. Okay, so trading is more about understanding the risk than it is about the actual setup and taking trades. And a lot of traders don't understand that. So if we go back to the trade that I took that we can break down, okay, there's 26 ticks of risk on this trade. Whether I entered over here, or I entered over here, or I entered over here, it's the same setup every time. You don't have to learn a new setup. The entry is always the same. It's 1 tick after it closes. The stop is always the same. It's 1 tick above the wick for any setup that you take. So you don't have to think on the fly, where do I get in? Where is my entry going to be? Where's my stop going to be? Where are my targets going to be? Because that's all built into the system by using Renko bars. So I already have the automated trade management set up for you. So it has your targets set as soon as you place the trade, whether you're trading 1 contract, 2 contracts, 3 contracts or more, and your targets match your risk, so you average greater than a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio, which keeps you safe on every trade. Okay, so the next category that I wanted to discuss is the trade alerts, okay? And the reason I programmed in the trade alerts is because I have multiple screens open at one time. Most traders do, because it's very difficult to only trade one instrument solely, because you can't depend on there being a clean setup for that instrument every day. So by having multiple instruments open each day, you can mark your chart ups, choose the best looking setup, and decide which instrument you're going to trade for the day. Well, when you have multiple screens open, it's very easy to miss your setup if you're staring at another chart. So I have the audio announcements that will say, for instance, NQ trade alert, okay, when this becomes a potential entry. And the reason I say potential is it will continue to flash on and off on your screen, and you will hear the announcements 1 or multiple times saying NQ trade alert, or YM trade alert, or CL trade alert, depending on which instrument you're trading, until the candle actually prints. So I call it an audio heads up alert, because it literally makes you look at the right screen and see what's going on and decide, is that a setup that I'm interested in? It will also go ahead and have another audio announcement once the candle has actually printed. Okay, and in this case it would say NQ sell signal 2. Okay, because 2 is blue, yellow is 1, and there's also a red, which is number 3. So the audio heads up alerts is very powerful and keeps you from accidentally missing the setup that you've been waiting for, potentially for minutes or even hours.
Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to leave us a comment down below. And while you're at it, follow us on Instagram at Renko.Kings.